always had myself into events, right? So events like one of my ex-boss Rohit Verma had an event called Social Media Week, which was a global festival, and somehow I was heading social media for it. Uh, then a good friend of mine, Yashraj Akashi, he curates an event called TEDx Gateway, which is one of the largest TEDx's in the country, maybe in Asia. And I was the social media guy for him. So I met a lot of people there. So networking has been something very very close to me, and somehow I developed this art of networking by myself. And I used to read a lot of books, so whenever I used to go and talk to people, I had stuff to speak to. And I think I was good at what I used to do. So social media was my thing, and I was very good at what I used to do. And that is what helped, I guess, and that's how people knew me.
Today, I have with me Manish Pandey, Research Head, Joshtalks. Welcome, Manish, to the podcast.
Hi Sid, hello, good to be here. I mean, I have followed your podcast. Recently, you interviewed Supriya also. I went through that, and you guys have been doing a great job. So I'm really happy. Just a little correction. I used to head research at Joshtalks. Now I look into operations and culture, and my role is more like an elder brother to the organization. And if you ask about my job profile is just to make sure that everybody is happy, content, and things are being taken care of. There's a happy working environment. We work like a sports team, and it's crazy. And apart from that, I also work with a lot of content creators around the country. Work with few more startups as a consultant. Both my co-founders Shobit and Supriya have been kind enough to allow me to also work with other teams. So yeah, that's what I do. And fun to be here. Let's talk.
Thanks, Manish. Manish, you were recently on Ranveer Allahbadia's Aka Beer Biceps podcast,
Yeah, yeah.
where he mentioned that you mentor so many entrepreneurs, including him, and you don't draw money from the entrepreneurs you help. Uh, uh, where does it aligns in your purpose in life?
Well, Sid, I really like helping people, and till recent past, I didn't know how to quantify what I do, and should I be taking money for that thing, because I didn't really. Okay, first of all, I was a full time member with Joe Stocks team. So in my books, it was unethical to draw money from anywhere else, right? So whatever salary I used to get from Joe Stocks, and I still get, I was very content, right? And I never took money from any of the entrepreneurs or content creators who I worked with. But then Supriya walked up to me one day and she said, Manish, what you do is great, but you should charge a little bit of money so that people value your time. And I said, okay, yeah, I'll think about it. I thought she's just saying just like that, but she was damn serious about it. And then she said, okay, uh, there's a common mentor of ours, and he was building a YouTube channel and all of that. And she said that you should work with him and try and figure out, and maybe also try and figure out some commercial. And I said, okay, Supriya, this is coming from you, so I think this means that I have a permission to take consulting, as a part of my thing, and draw money. And she empowered me. And even Ranveer, see, he said that, bro, you should really make it like a thing, a commercial thing. Reason, because your time should be valued. So there are few startups now, who I draw a little bit of consulting fee. I give them a particular amount, number of hours in a month, and then I take a fee for that. Now I've started doing that. However, yes, you are very correct. Till 2020 के पहले तक, I was not taking any money from anybody. And I used to think that, what I do is I just meet them and talk to them, and something beautiful comes out. So my spiritual being in me used to say that it's come out of you, it's not yours. So why should you take money for that, right? So that was the whole scenario. But now I'm involved more than talking. I'm involved in their day-to-day stuff. Then few of the startups, I have a commercial engagement now. It would be wrong to say that I don't have. But yeah, all said and done, there are hundreds of people that talk to me in a course of month, in a quarter, and yeah, I don't draw money from them, because some of them are growing, some of them are trying to make their mark and all. And I really like helping youngsters who have zeal to do beyond what normal people are doing. So I think that's my contribution towards making a stronger nation. I think it would be a very big thing to say. I don't think that it goes, but somewhere it's building being built in the society. So I think that's my contribution towards, or say that it's a give back from me, whatever I learned, because whatever I learned it on the streets. I've not been to any college, right? So yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah, your journey has been very inspiring. You started working, uh, as you shared in your Josh talks, like really early in your life, started teaching tuitions when you were just
Yeah,
a school kid.
yeah,
Then started working in the factory along with your
yeah,
father. You
yeah,
passed your 12th. You then couldn't opt for college because the financial
yeah,
situation of the household. You worked in a call center, and now in just this 13 years span of time, you are mentoring so many entrepreneurs, so many startups. Some of them are like in dollar terms multi-millionaire in their valuation. How
yeah.
does it feel to
Yeah,
see all that?
I really really find, and sometimes I as I said, right? So Sid, I was not going through a very good phase right now. Like last 3 months had been really difficult. I'm still in that phase. I took a therapy also, and recently, because I think because of the COVID situation in the country, I was deep down there with COVID resources with my friends. We were helping a lot of people, and I saw a lot of deaths from very close quarter. In 2019, I lost my dad. 2020, I lost my uncle. Just few days back. I mean, it's a year now. And then again, very close friends of mine, they lost their parents. Somebody lost their sister, brother, friends, and all. It was really haunting time, right? So I was just not too good in my head, and I was like, okay, let me take some time and think about it. And I was really depressed, kind of a thing. I don't know if depression was there or not. uh, However, I was not good, and I was introspecting, and I said, Ki, what have I done in life, right? Then I just reflected myself, right? I took myself back to fifth standard, when I was just a kid. What does a fifth standard kid do, right? And I said I was making 60 rupees a month, and I used to teach Sunita auntie's son, who used to be in my school junior. मतलब वो third standard में था, और मैं fifth standard में था. And I used to teach him. He used to be a kid who used to fail in the class, and then he came in top 5, and he passed all subjects. Sunita auntie used to cry and say that, Manish changed my son's life. And then I think I carried that culture with me, right? Well, my father was a security guard in a factory, and then later he became a security guard in a bank. When I came to Silvassa first with my father, I and my father, we used to stay in the security guard's cabin, like a small cabin. You can imagine a security guard's cabin, right? We used to just be there. And my father used to make around 1,300 rupees a month that time. It is 2001 2. I was in 8th, 9th standard, 7th, 8th, 9th wala time hai ye. And, you know, I boldly went to my father and said that don't worry, we'll together do it. And I said, can you please talk to your friends who are driving trucks and, doing other stuff, factory workers, and if I could teach their kids, because I think I can teach their kids. And I'll give a trial. If they like it, then they can pay me, monthly income. And it happened. It happened. I mean, my father used to make around 1300 rupees a month that time. I think till the time I went to Navodaya, his salary was around 1800, 1900 rupees. And I used to make around 1400, 1500 rupees by doing tuitions, right? And I used to send that money to my mother and my sister who were in the village, and father's salary. I and my father used to look into our livelihood every day, whatever. Well, it's not a special story, Sid. 96% of our country has a household income of less than 30,000 rupees. Today, you and I are top 1% richest Indians. We're very privileged, right? So so why I didn't feel anything that time is because मेरे आसपास जो लोग रह रहे थे वो सब वैसे ही थे. कोई रिक्शा चलाता था, कोई ट्रक ड्राइविंग करता था, कोई 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 भंगार उठाता था, दैट यू नो. सो सारे वैसे ही लोग तो थे. वी यूज्ड टू स्टे इन अ स्लम. If you miss out your timing just to take a dump in the morning, you have to stand in a queue, because it's one toilet which is supporting around 20-30 slums, and each slum has 5 to 6 members. So one toilet is supporting around 100 people, right? So imagine if you miss out on timings, you need to stand in a queue because everybody wants to go there. So yeah, that was it. And then when I, without making it too boring, after my 12th standard, when I came to Pune for the first time, and got into a call center, that's a different story altogether. It has story of all, how did I land there, where did I stay, and all of that is again a story again. And one thing led to another, yeah, Sid. And the only thing that I never gave up was on my confidence. I always remembered where did I come from. I always knew that I need to take my parents out of the slum and put them in a place where there is a dignity. One of my biggest dream always had been that my father should not go to anybody and ask a single penny. Udhar nahi lena hai. Because I very clearly remember, when you take 100 rupees, 200 rupees from friends, right? And when you're not able to pay back on time, the way they come, they humiliate you for that 100, 200 rupees. It's very, very painful. And I've gone through that. I've been there. I don't want anybody. I pray to God that nobody should go in that phase कि किसी को किसी के सामने भी हाथ फैलाना पड़े. And that is why I said, I like making people independent, and that is why वो inherit है मेरे से. मैं ऐसे consciously करता हूँ या नहीं करता हूँ पता नहीं, मेरे से होता है. That's something that happens from me, that I go ahead and I help people, whoever asks me for anything, right? Whoever comes to me and asks me, today I'm in a situation, Sid, so why shouldn't I do? Tell me one thing. Today I'm in that situation that I can do, so why shouldn't I do? Right? So that
Absolutely.
is what kind of pushes me to do what I do, man. So yeah, I mean, rest of the stories in Joshtalks. So yeah, listeners can go and check out my Joshtalks for the journey that I have had. It's a little sob story, so I don't want to bring it out here. And yeah, man, it is like 96% of the India has that same story. I represent them. So yeah, cool.
And if you can remember, when did you started helping entrepreneurs, and how did they started reaching out to you? Because you were working in a corporate Reliance, and
Yeah,
as you said, right, there are mushrooms which grow under a banyan tree. So
yeah,
nobody comes to know about the mushrooms.
correct.
Everybody knows the banyan tree.
Yeah, correct. So you know what? I always had myself into events, right? So events like, one of my ex-boss Rohit Verma had an event called Social Media Week, which was a global festival, and somehow I was heading social media for it. Then a good friend of mine, Yashraj Akashi, he curates an event called TEDx Gateway, which is one of the largest TEDx's in the country, maybe in Asia. And I was the social media guy for him. So I met a lot of people there. So networking has been something very, very close to me, and somehow I developed this art of networking by myself. And I used to read a lot of books, so whenever I used to go and talk to people, I had stuff to speak to. And I think I was good at what I used to do. So social media was my thing, and I was very good at what I used to do. And 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 that is what helped, I guess, and that's how people knew me. And that's how people referred me. Okay, you want to help on this particular thing, go talk to this guy. You want to help on this particular thing, go talk to this guy. And yeah, and in Reliance, also in corporate, I was not like working in some small team. I was working with the president of one of the units, Captain Raghuraman, who I learned so much from. Right, he used to give me a lot of exposure. He used to send me places. Right, one of the IPS officers launching his book, he used to send me that, go Manish, you represent me there and do your stuff. And he used to give me a lot of confidence. My good friend, my brother Arjun Gupta, who's right now working in London, he used to be in our team. He's the one who brought me to Reliance, in Raghu sir's team. He used to empower me a lot. So Sid, it's not something that I've done on my own, bro. A lot of people have helped me. Shobit and Supriya, I met at TEDx Gateway event, right, in 2015, and we became friends. When I heard Supriya for the first time, The only word that I have for her is I got inspired by that girl. That what I saw in her eyes and what she told me, and I still remember. And I said, she's trying to build something for me. How can I not go and help her in whatever she needs? And that's how our relationship started, our friendship started, and rest of the journey is in front of you, right? So yeah, I mean Shobit, Supriya, Captain Raguraman, my friend Yashraj, Ranveer for that matter, all of these have empowered me a lot to be where I am today.
How
And
did
that
you
is
met
how I've met these
Ranveer?
entrepreneurs.
How did you meet Ranveer? That
It
would
was
be an
very
interesting story.
Ranveer was very funny. I mean, Ranveer was doing a talk at TEDx Bandra, and Raghu sir was also doing a talk there. So I went with Raghu sir, and because it was his talk and I had to be there. And Ranveer also was a speaker. Ranveer then had some 90,000, 100K subscribers on his YouTube channel, and Ranveer was going through a little bit of his own phase in life that time. So somehow we made an eye contact, and there was a very spiritual connection between us. It's very funny, it's very fairy tale-ish to say that how can you matlab ye aankhon aankhon mein kya ho gaya types, so he saw me and he got intimidated. He came to me and he said ki brother, I want to talk to you. And that's how we started talking. And then he opened up about his life, and there is he's done some Hindi videos also about me and how I came in his life and how things changed. So I helped him through couple of difficult things that he was going through, and that is how our friendship got built. I brought him into spiritual journey. I helped him. He already had the element, so he had the element in him. So I just pulled that element and I said, "Hey, brother, this is the right way of doing things." And that's how we became friends. And because of Ranveer, I met all the content creators that I know today. He introduced me to everybody, and that's how we started talking to all of them. And now they're kind enough to call me their mentor or whatever. But I'm friends with them. I like being called friends, and I love their company. Many of them are very very. These guys are really crazy. These guys are going to change the way marketing and branding is perceived in our country. There's a new wave coming, Sid. This 20 to 25 30 wale jo creators hai, these guys are going to be rock solid and going to put put a put a place, in the new age marketing and branding that we will get to see. So yeah, this is how I met these guys, and this is how I do stuff. I think things are moving from one place to another.
So from you are mentoring so many entrepreneurs on content creation and content distribution. For thousands of content creators who are listening to this podcast, right? What would be the key learnings on in your journey that you would tell them the right things to do? I know there would be many. If you could summarize.
Well, the first important thing is to be disciplined. Second, to be consistent. Third, to believe in what you're doing. Fourth, to really study the niche that you are trying to do. So you cannot preach something that you don't do yourself. So first do it. Like if you are a fitness content person, you need to be looking fit. If you're a person who's teaching some coding or something like that, you need to be a good coder yourself, right? So you need to be very very versed in your subject. Financial people content creators on finance, they need to be really versed in finance, and they must have, even if they don't have a college degree in finance, but they should have hands-on practical knowledge which they can share, which is data backed, right? That, and then please don't be ignorant of the trends. Please don't be ignorant of what's working. Study data analytics. Study what is working, what is not working, and collaboration will help people grow. So this is what I feel the young content creator should keep in mind. And then yes, there are many technicalities which come in place depending upon what kind of content you're trying to do. But yes, Sid, I want to tell it through your podcast that storytelling is going to be a big thing, and the next $1 trillion company that you will see in next maybe a decade's time is going to be a storytelling company, or company that's supporting storytelling. So yeah.
So, for example, to get more context into what you are saying, uh, uh, what would be your advice for 100x entrepreneur? I'm being self critical and at the same time, what would be your advice for 100x entrepreneur, which is building content for entrepreneurs uh, on various channels, especially on YouTube? Let's say we are producing 50-minute content on YouTube.
I have a list of things that I would gladly email it to you. But let me just highlight few things to you. I think you should go very aggressive in terms of your own social media branding, the host social media branding, and the 100x entrepreneurs branding. You need to figure out where your listeners are, right, and penetrate it them and there. Collaborate with guys who have their own social cloud, get them on the podcast, ask them to share and all, and make it interesting. Like when you have podcasts to post, you post it, but when you don't have podcast to post, right, what do you do in that phase is very important. So I would like 100x entrepreneurs to go out there and do a lot of what do you call user generated content. You guys should be kind of uh, looking for. So maybe you should try and do a lot of giveaways, try do lot of interesting stuff which draws attention of young and aspiring entrepreneurs, or even guys who are doing consulting, freelancing and all of that. Even those guys are entrepreneurs, right? So they should be coming. There should be hacks and tips and tricks that you should speak of. I think you should start series, things like 5 things to keep in mind, 3 things to keep in mind. Play with the content platform's strengths. Like in Instagram right now, reel is the new thing. So be there in the reels. Try and be in the shoes of Gen Z kids, because they are the next generation entrepreneurs, or people who will be a part of economy. So yeah, engage with these people. Try and see what kind of language they understand and all. And dude, be on Spotify. Let us speak to the Spotify guys and place you somewhere in Spotify. So yeah, I mean, Spotify needs this content today. You're talking to a lot of entrepreneurs. I've checked, like there is around 50-60 things that I saw. So yeah, these are the kind of things that you should do, which I'm saying right now.
Thank you so much, Manish. I think many entrepreneurs who are listening to it, because they know 100x entrepreneur, they'll be able to relate what kind of content and what kind of discipline they can get into their own content creation. Uh, uh, One of the key things in today's, be it any entrepreneur, as you mentioned, you have to be aggressive with content, whether if you're building, if your offering is a content or not, but your brand चमकता है सोशल मीडिया पे, right? So can you go on the basics basis of that? uh, for example, there's a person called Rahul Mathur of Bima Pay
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
Twitter.
Rahul.
his
Yeah,
his content is very
yeah,
interesting,
yeah.
right? So if you can help, the entrepreneurs listening on the thought process, how to build that kind of engagement on their own profiles and on their, business profiles on social media.
Well, see, if you followed Rahul is a great character. Like Rahul, I have a very good friend. His name is Palak Zatakia. We've spent a lot of time together. Him, then there's a friend of mine, Piyush Kumar, who runs a company called Router Sports. These guys, if you see, right, Ajay is a friend who runs a company called Stock Grow. Uh, if you see these guys in their Twitter, right, and even all my friends like Ranveer and other guys, right? So if you see why they are able to create that kind of content is because, see, they read a lot. They read a lot of books, right? And when if you want to write one line, you have to read 10 lines. It's as simple as that. I mean, so they do that with in because you brought Rahul's name. Uh, Rahul is a great guy. Whatever happens in his startup, he just puts it out online. He hires from Twitter. He engages with people, right? So I think he's just being himself, and I think what works for him is he being himself, and he's putting his vulnerabilities outside, his achievements out there. Even if he's sad, he'll put it out. Even if he's happy, he'll put it out. Even if he's confused about something, he will put it out. Sometimes his tweets are very full of frustration, and that is fine. That's okay, because that's his facing every day, right? So his life is on Twitter, and it makes a lot of sense because that is what building it in is called, right? So he's building it on social media. So that's great, and he has a great company, by the way. I mean, he's a great startup that he's building. So yeah, I mean, that's what it takes. I think people who want to write should read a lot of books, follow a lot of podcasts, consume. When you consume more, then you can give a little bit. So yeah, I think consumption of good kind of knowledge is very important.
This reminds me of one of Javed Akhtar's quote. Right, he said, "Before you can pour, the glass has to be full."
Yes, yes. Even Shahrukh Khan said कि गरीबी में गुर्बत नहीं होती, right? So he said कि आप यदि खुद गरीब हो, and गरीब means not just by wealth, right? Even by knowledge, all kind of things. If you don't have, what will you give? So first you need to collect, first you need to earn, and then you can distribute a little bit. So yeah, that's what it is, I guess.
How did you get your started on your spiritual journey?
Well, that was a part that had me, because so I think you know that I grew up in Nepal, right, with my Nana
Yeah.
ji, and he was a very spiritual person. So I used to just follow him, and he used to make me sit with him and read Bhagavad Gita to me when I was 4 year 5 year old. So he used to explain Bhagavad Gita to me, verses to me, and he used to relate it with what happened in my life that day and all of that. So that's how I got intrigued towards that, and then I learned my meditation from him. I learned a little bit of yoga from him, and I just followed him. And then, and it's an ongoing journey. It is in you. It comes within from you, right? So I cannot really trace where it started, how it started, but it just started and it's been with me. So and what's it? Being spiritual is very simple, and simple is tough, right? Uh, you just have to be honest to yourself, man, and you need to say that, okay, I'm not gonna do anything unethical. I'm not gonna hurt somebody. I will keep forgiveness in my forefront. I will help people. I will not be jealous or envious of anybody. I will see inspiration in everything that I see. uh, and just be there, and be kind to each other, love nature, respect nature. See, I tweeted it yesterday also, right? I'm born on this earth. It doesn't matter what did I get born with. What will matter is when I go, what do I leave behind, right? And I need to leave a better earth than what I got. If everybody just puts this thing in their head, I think everybody will be spiritual. Spirituality is not some degree that you get, right? It is a part of your life. It's how you conduct yourself. Yeah, that is what it is. I mean, it will be a different podcast altogether, a separate podcast. Maybe we will do one more just on speaking on spirituality, because I get very very intrigued when I speak to spirituality, because I want everybody to kind of follow the path. It's a wish, because the earth will be a better place if everybody kind of calms down and tries to understand how much is enough, you know. So yeah, that is how spiritual journey started, and that is what it means for me.
Thank you so much, Manish, for being on the podcast. I know we can go on hours and hours.
Yes.
Uh, there's so much to relate with you, but I think just keeping the time in mind and some of the key lessons which you shared in mind, right, on being authentic, on having a growth mindset, and you always kept pushing yourself for better. You could have easily settled at the Reliance part of the journey,
Yeah.
and this is inspiring. Really, your journey is inspiring. What and how you are able to nurture so many seeds around you, the seeds of entrepreneur dreams which you
Yeah,
are
you know
involved
what's
in.
it? I think it happens because I don't really think about it, and I don't let it get into my head. And it is like a normal thing for me. I just walk and things happen, right? So I don't really like taking credit for a lot of things. It's because when you look at it, you're not doing anything special, you're doing what a human being should do. So that's a basic responsibility, I guess, right? So why should you be pompous about your basic responsibility? You just do it. I mean, everybody should do it. Why just me? And the story that you said is relatable, because 96% of the country has the same story. I'm fortunate that I'm representing them, and I'm telling everybody's story through me. But yeah, I mean, our country have brave people who are trying to do brave things, and kudos to everybody who's kind of pulling themselves out from a situation that they are in and trying to give the next generation or their own generation a better life. Life with dignity, food with dignity on table is important, and that is what I wish. I pray to God that our everybody in our country has food with dignity on the table. That's what I wish.
Thank you so much, Manish. It was
Thanks,
great
Sid.
having you
Thank you
on the
so much. I had
podcast.
a great time. Thank you.